everyone, this is Trisha and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be attempting to make a keto chicken pot pie. So as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of ingredients here on the table. Now I will be putting the recipe in the description box below with the measurements for everything. So I'm just going to go through real quick what the ingredients are going to be. So for the filling, I'll need some chicken flavored bouillon. I'm going to be needing some whipping cream or heavy cream, some chicken, and I'm going to be using these leg quarters. These are rotisserie chicken. And I've got some chicken broth, little shredded or little matchstick carrots. I've got some green beans, onion, and then I've got this. This is a chayote squash. Squash can be used in place of potatoes on a keto diet because you can't have potatoes. But if you don't find this type of a squash, you can use a zucchini or a yellow squash. Okay, I'm also going to be using some butter. I need double of what I have here, but I'm going to make do with what I have because the rest of it I'm using it for the crust. So I'm also going to be using this product called xantham gum. Xantham gum is what will thicken up my my whole filling. I'm also going to use salt and pepper for that. Also for the crust, I'll use salt and pepper. And then I've got here some baking powder, and then I've got this whole thing of butter, which I need for that. So that's why I'm only going to use what I have for the other part. 2 eggs here. I've got almond flour, garlic powder, mayonnaise, and some shredded cheese. That's for the crust, and this is for the filling. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shred up this whole, the chicken legs, because I need 2 cups. I'm going to boil these chayote squash just as they are for 10 minutes. Make sure they're covered in water. 10 minutes so they're nice and tender. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel this off and dice them. And I'll be dicing some of this onion as well. And I'm also going to put these in boiling water as well to blanch them up. So I'm going to remove the little ends here for those before I throw them in the hot boiling salted water. So I'll be back once I have all those ingredients prepared, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so the chayote squash is now tender. I put my knife through it nice and easily, and I went ahead and I threw in these green beans in the last 5 minutes. This has taken about, maybe 12 minutes. I said 10, but it's taken about 12 minutes. So this is ready. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and pull out all of that and let it cool off. Meantime, I have also measured out 1.5 cups of the chicken broth. Here I have a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of the xantham gum, and then I've also got the chicken bouillon, which is 1 teaspoon. So that's what I've got right in here. These are my seasonings and my xantham gum. Okay, so I've already taken half of one of the squash and I've peeled it and I've diced it. Now this is the other half. It's best to cut it in half like that so that then you can lay it flat, and it's a whole lot easier to peel it so it doesn't slip around on you. So that's just a little tip. Also, this little part in here, this little pit area, you want to remove that. You can just use your knife, or as you cut them, you can just remove that. So that's all you want to do. So I've got this half done. I'll do this one, and then I'll do the next one. I've also gone ahead and shredded up, or kind of diced up, 2 cups of the chicken. This is a quarter, actually I have a little bit more, 1/4 of just a regular onion, and then my green beans that I pulled out from the heat. I didn't blanch them. I didn't put them in cold water. I just went in, or ice water, whatever. I just put them there. It's fine. And we're going to go on to the next step. All right, so now in my pan, I've got my butter, and I should have 1/2 cup, or what is 8 tablespoons of butter, but I didn't have enough for this part of the pot pie. So I went ahead and I used what I had, and this is 4 tablespoons, so it's actually 1/4 cup of butter. And so I went ahead and I added, this is about 2 tablespoons, maybe a little bit more, of some coconut oil, which is all that I happen to have. Some of it's already melting, so there may be more than 3 tablespoons in there. But I just went ahead and added that. Now you could add maybe a little bit of lard if you wanted to, or even some bacon fat would be good. Just add some extra flavor to your, or just do it with what you have. Okay, so I'm gonna let that get nice and hot. And next step. Okay, so I've added the onions to saute, and I have lowered my temperature, low to medium, and I've also turned on my oven to preheat it for 350 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so let's add in some more items into this. Okay, so now I'm adding the salt, pepper, xanthan gum, and the chicken bouillon. to this. Get it all in there. And let's mix it up really, really well. That smells delicious. Butter and onions. Okay, so now I've got 1.5 cups of chicken broth. Adding that in there. And I'm going to bring up my heat to medium-high. And to this I'm going to add 1/2 cup of heavy cream. And I'm going to mix it out really, really well. Okay, so I've added the carrots and the chayote squash, and I'm stirring this around. This cream is starting to get thick, which is really nice, which we really, really want that. And next I'm adding the green beans and all that chicken. And we're going to mix it in really well. And we're just going to cook it maybe a couple of minutes. We're going to want that sauce to get nice and thick. And look at how yummy all that looks already. I mean, you could eat that up just like that. We don't even have to put it in that pie. Now, if you wanted to make this into a soup, you could add less of the cream and add in more of that chicken broth, maybe a couple of cups more. So you'd have a total of maybe up to 4 cups. So you put in 1.5 first, so add in 2.5 more, or 3 or 4 more, whatever you want. Look at that. That looks so good. And it smells delicious. Now we're going to go ahead and turn this off. And we're going to let it set aside and let it thicken up, and we're going to go make our crust. Alright, so I've gone ahead and put that filling in a pie pan here. And I've got this on a sheet pan. I put some parchment. You don't have to do that. I just did that just so easier cleanup. And I put it on the sheet pan just so, you know, when it bubbles up in the oven, and if any of this filling happens to, you know, spill out, it doesn't fall into the oven, but it'll fall into my pan here. Alright, so now for the pie crust, I've got 2 cups of almond flour. I've got 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I've got about a teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/4 teaspoon each of salt and pepper, and I'm going to whisk these dry ingredients together. Alright, so for my wet ingredients, I've got 1/2 cup or 8 tablespoons of melted butter, and it's already been cooled off, and I've got 2 eggs, and I've got a teaspoon of mayo. And I'm going to whisk those up really well. Alright, so we have our bowl of dry ingredients, and we're going to add the wet into it, and we're going to mix this until we start forming a dough. Now you might want to get your hands in there, and you want to have a sheet of parchment paper set aside ready so that we can roll all this all into it. Okay, so now that I've got this all nice and wet, all my dry ingredients are mixed with my wet, I'm going to go ahead and add in a 1/3 cup of shredded cheese, and I'm using mozzarella. And we're just going to blend it in really well into our dough. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I poured out my dough onto a sheet of parchment paper here. Now this dough is a lot softer, it's a little wetter, and it feels a little bit stickier than the usual dough that I make for a keto flatbread. And normally what I do with that is I put it between 2 parchment sheets like that, and then I use a rolling pin or this little pastry roller to, you know, flatten it out to the shape that I, you know, the desired shape that I want. But I'm wondering if this is actually going to, you know, spread out nicely and then be able to then put it on here. I feel like it might break up on me. So if you have that problem, if I have that problem, and if you have that problem, you could just take, you know, little bits like that and then just put them on top of your pie, and then use like a spatula to kind of smooth it out and make it into a little, you know, a little crust on top. So that's what I'll end up doing if this doesn't work out. So we're going to do this very carefully, and I'm just going to roll it out to be round or wide enough to go on top of this. Okay, so what I've done is I've flipped it over, and before I flipped it over, I peeled the parchment paper because I want to make sure that it's not going to be sticking onto my crust here. So I flipped it over, and once in a while, as I'm rolling it, I peel off the paper, put it back down, and roll it out some more. I just want to make sure that I haven't rolled it out so much that it is completely stuck to the parchment and I can't pull it out. So I just want to be careful. Also, how thick. This is maybe about, I don't know, about 1/8 of an inch thick here. So maybe that's the thickness that I want. And now when I lifted it up, I was able to do it. You might want to fold it like that maybe. And then kind of bring it up here, pull off the parchment, and then put it on there. Let me see if I can do that on camera. I need to put the camera on a tripod. So I'm going to bring this over, kind of compare. Okay, any bits that are a little too big, you know, they'll break off, and then you just kind of stick them on top. Okay, let's try this. And that was like you flip it over like that. You know, peel it off just to make sure it's nothing sticking. I know a little piece broke off here on the edge here. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Just throw that back in there. It's trying to escape on us. Okay, so I'm going to try and put this on top of the yummy filling in my pie plate. Any little bits, I'm just going to, excuse me, I'm going to set them aside in this little thing here. My counter's clean. I made sure I cleaned it before I did any of this. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Okay, so I'm just going to measure this here, and it does go over both edges. So I'm going to go ahead and peel off the top here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put it like this and just make sure these edges are matching. And there we go, like that. And I'm just going to press it so it kind of breaks off right there. And we can take this part off now. Now all this that you have on the sides, you know, you can just put them, you know, make a little crust bit here. Nice little cute little edge here on your pie plate. And remove all that. Get it off of here because the sides of my pie plate are still hot. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to try and form a nice little edge here, and then I'll just poke some little holes in here like that. My oven has been hot. It is ready actually. So I'm going to bake this. It says here to score the center, so it'll release some steam. And I'm going to bake this for 20 to 25 minutes till this is golden brown. Okay, so I'm going to fix this up. Before I put it in the oven, I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like. Okay, so what I did for the edge is I took all the little dough and then I kind of rolled it out on the piece of parchment paper on the side, you know, rolled it out to like a little tube, and then I was putting it on here and then just kind of pressing it down. And I'm just going with the fork. You don't have to do any of this. Don't have to follow what I'm doing, but I just want to show you that you can. And I'm going with the fork around just to give her a little bit of a design. And I'm gonna open up these little slits a little bit more here. There we go. This will be going into the oven now, and we'll check it in 20 minutes. This is 20 to 25 minutes. This is golden brown. Everything is already cooked inside, so we don't have to bake it till it cooks. We just want to make sure that all this here, the top, the crust, gets cooked. And we want it a little bit browned. Okay, middle of the oven, by the way. And the pie is out of the oven. I've had it in there for 25 minutes. It is nice and golden brown, and it smells incredible. I'm going to let this cool off before I attempt cutting into it. But I am feeling this little crust, and it feels nice and crunchy and crusty. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. All right, everyone, it is time to cut into our pie now. The recipe says it can be sliced up into 10, so I imagine you'll be slicing and just marking your 10 servings, but it does say to scoop it out. So I'm thinking this is not going to come out like a pie, like a slice of pie, obviously. So I'm just going to cut into it like so. Oh my goodness, probably could have waited a little bit longer, get that sauce in there to thicken up a little bit more. Just making sure that this little crust is off the edges. Oh my gosh. But I'm just going to scoop right in. Look at that. It just breaks right there. I'm just going to scoop right into it, you guys. Oh my gosh. And look at that. My mouth is watering. Look at that. Look at the little crust on top. I'm going to put it in a bowl. I was debating whether I would put it on a plate or on a bowl. And a bowl won, you guys. Put that right in there. Oh my gosh. And I'm going to get these little pieces of crust. Throw those on top. And look at that. That looks so delicious. It smells delicious. I bet it's going to taste delicious. So let's take a little bit of that. Actually, a little bit of the crust. and the pie. Look at that. Or rather the fillings. Give that a taste. Mmm. 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 You guys, that chayote squash has the texture of potatoes. It's absolutely wonderful. Now I would take that chayote squash and do the same thing. Boil it, peel it, dice it up, make a potato salad with that. You know, instead of potatoes. So if you're on a diet, you can't have potatoes. You're on keto, you can have the mayonnaise and all that. That is a great way to enjoy a potato salad again. Look at all the yumminess in there, the green beans, the carrots. But let me tell you, this little crust, that is the topper. Literally, it is a topper. All right, everyone, I hope that you enjoyed my keto chicken pot pie and that you're going to give the recipe a try. Again, I will put all the ingredients and the instructions for it, and I will link the video where I got this idea from for this pie in the description box below. So I want to give them credit. I can't remember the name, but I will put the link so that you'll know where I got it from. Give them total credit for this delicious, delicious recipe. And it did have the nutritional facts, like how many calories, carbs, and such like that. So I'll go ahead and put that in the description box as well. All right, I'm gonna give myself a big old thumbs up because my mouth is watering, you guys. Gotta go, gotta finish this up. It is delicious. Give me a big old thumbs up and leave a nice comment down below. Let me know what you think. Are you gonna create this? I really, really recommend you do. It came out wonderful. Like I said, if you can't spread out that crust, just blop it up on top of here and just smooth it out on top if that's how you can do it. All right, I hope everyone enjoyed it again, and subscribe if you haven't done so. Hit that red subscribe button down below right here, even my icon right there. You can subscribe through that as well. And also hit the notification bell so that'll notify you of when I put up my videos. So make sure you share on your social medias, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. I'm doing this on a Sunday night, but you'll be seeing this on the following Thursday. And have a wonderful weekend. I hope y'all are doing well, keeping safe, and hope that our lives are doing well. And amen. All right, everyone, enjoy.